Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 235 of the W.I.L.L.I.W show, which stands for Wrestling is Life. Life is Wrestling. Now today, first I want to point out to the regular viewers of the show, a couple new shirts I've got added to the Ayatollah of Champola Jimmy King and the Super K shirt. If anybody else would like to donate a shirt to be on the W.I.L.L.I.W show wall, then I have a couple more spaces here and I'm looking to fill them up. So I would love anybody to donate a shirt. But let's get into this episode. This episode is all about fantasy booking. I love daydreaming about wrestling, and I like doing hypothetical things. So let's say you were given the opportunity to run a local wrestling show. Um, Now, the money was provided for you, someone paid you, gave you a bunch of money, the ring is taken care of, the building that it's going to take place is taken care of, you have video cameras, everything at your disposal. Money is not really an issue. No, I'm not saying you have millions of dollars, but I'm just saying like everything would be taken care of. For how would you go about booking it? Like what stories would you run? Which people would you like to feature on your show? Who would you book? Would you try and get a lot of independent stars from around North America or Europe, or would you get like local guys that you know in Ontario? What kind of matches would you have? What would your presentation be like? Like would you have what kind of aisleway, entranceway would you have? Would you have any kind of big screen or anything? Would you do something completely different out of the box? Um, what kind of like storyline angles would you run? Would you have championships? What would you name your promotion? All these kind of things. I would love to hear from you, and I like long-winded answers. I read every single comment, and I enjoy them. But this is my show, so I'm going to do it my way. If I had a bunch of money, I would be very happy to run a wrestling show. That'd be one of my dreams come true. And I wouldn't be the guy that would just book who he's friends with. I would book who I was a fan of and who I think could make money with. And I'm a big mark for big guys. I like people that look like you would not be able to beat them up in the street. I like the intimidating factor. It's what I grew up on. And I would have one or two smaller guys, but most of the guys would be big guys with nice bodies or unique looks, and I would run with that. I mean, I just find it something more impressive about bigger guys doing wrestling moves, and they're more intimidating, and the audience is more in awe of them. When you see someone big walk in the room, it's just like the difference between James Ellsworth and Braun Strowman. Like, Braun Strowman could beat the hell out of you in real life. So I would do a lot of big guys if I was me, and I would run. I mean, if it was a new town and this would be my new promotion, I don't know what I would call it, but I probably wouldn't have any titles on the first show because, I mean, who deserves to be champion after the first show? I would try to establish two or three really good heels and two or three really good faces. Definitely have a women's match featured on there and a tag team match. I would try and have one cruiserweight, high flying type match. I think I would try to establish some heat early on, like have some guy come out that I would make a top heel and schedule to wrestle a match against somebody, and then he just can't do it because he's just in disgust to wrestle in front of these crowds, so he just literally walks out of the match. I don't think people would be expecting that. They're expecting to go see a show, and then like the two opponents go there and then he just walks away. He just won't do it. I think that would get some really good heat. And I would have some kind of thing where, like, I know on Raw it's such a horrible format, but they always do some kind of promo at the beginning of the night setting up for the main event later. I would do something to get people to make sure they would want to stick around for the main event. So I would have something happen. I don't know what, not a 15-minute long promo, that's for darn sure. Something that would set up for the match later. Um, I don't know if I do anything different. I make sure there's good music. I would make sure I filmed it with like three really good cameras because I feel social media could really get your product out there, and the better it looks on social media and video, the more people would want to come. I think I've had a lot of conversations with my friends in the wrestling business. How do you get people to come out to shows? I think that'd be the hardest thing. In Ontario alone, there's got to be millions of wrestling fans. But yet, at the shows, I mean, all the shows are doing well, but how many of these kids and young adults and even the older generation that love wrestling, that maybe watch WWE or Ring of Honor or New Japan every week, don't even realize in their hometowns that there's wrestling? Like, what's the best way to go? Newspaper? Well, not as many people read the news. Do you want to do the Facebook and the Twitter thing? Well, some people don't go that, and if they don't have you on there, then how are they ever going to see it? And radio, well, how many people listen to the radio nowadays? TV, well, TV is slowly declining, so it'd be really hard. So I don't know how I would do it. Would you go and like pay chapters to like every wrestling magazine they sell? You put a flyer in there, or Walmart, every figure they sell, you put a flyer on there. I mean, sponsors are the way to go because then people see the posters and the sponsors, and that word of mouth is still the best way. But I guess hypothetically speaking, I might do. Everyone criticizes TNA. Oh, they're paying fans to come in. Well, I wouldn't pay actors to come in, but I would try and find wrestling fans. I'd probably make it a free show if money was not an issue. And one thing I would do is for all the boys that I would book, mostly Ontario guys. I have a few guys in BC I would like to book, and I'd book the Ontario guys and the BC guys, and I would pay them like, if money was no issue, I would pay them like 5 times what they're normally getting. Like everyone that I know that I've been on shows with busts their ass and is doing it for measly pay. But what do you expect? These shows are not making millions of dollars. They're not big stars. They're not selling hundreds of tickets themselves. But they deserve it. Most of the people I know deserve really good money, and most of them work another job to support their wrestling habit. And I would pay everybody so much. I would try and have some kind of unique presentation for like the entranceway. I don't know what. I mean, everyone likes the ramp. The first thing I would do is I noticed that a lot of the shows, I mean, the venues are very restricting, but I would only have like 3 rows of seats, and then on each side I would have bleachers, because I find a lot of the times the kids go to the show, or if you're a little bit shorter than some other adults and you're behind someone, you can't see everything. So I figure if you have bleachers, it goes up, and then you're looking down, and I just figure everyone gets a better visual that way. I would definitely serve alcohol, but I would allow kids there too. I would make sure there wasn't like a lot of no swearing, nothing vulgar, no. I would try not to have any like blood or over the top violence. I mean, I would probably have some kind of no rules match on there, but to me, those are the kind of matches that are built up to end a feud. So I don't think I would have one of those on my first show, but I would find out who's going to be my stars, and I would start a program with them that I like the long drawn out stories, and I wouldn't give everything away on the first show. Like, it's like I would have a long-term plan. But I have so many ideas. I could go on for hours. I'm not going to. Canucks game is starting pretty soon here. And I just really want to hear from you guys. Because as always, on the Willow Show, like or you get a leg drop. Comment or you get a clothesline. Subscribe or you get a suplex. If you were promoting your own show, how would you go about it? The more details, the better. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!